All right, welcome back, YouTubers. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm your host, Jeff Ferguson.
I'm your co-host, Margo Hill.
All right, it is a great day to be Indigenous, and I only got to say one thing. Hands up to Jalen Suggs. All right, baby. Zags are going all the way. All right. Waiting
I
for
was
a long
war
time.
hooping.
Oh,
Holy
geez.
smokes.
Man, that buzzer beater of all buzzer beaters. Gosh, that was something else to watch. If you didn't see the game, man, I don't know what to tell you. That was something else, and I think we're in for a real treat tonight. So hopefully the Zags will be able to hang in there. I know Baylor's been tough all season long, and they are just, they should have played before, and now they finally get a chance to play at, the very, very top. It will be a great game. I cannot wait. I hope you guys are all doing well. We're happy to have you here. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm your host, Jeff Ferguson, and we are covering news and events for 11 tribes of the Inland Northwest, as far west as the Colville, down to the Yakama, to the Umatilla, the Warm Springs, the Perce, up north to the Kootenai, the Kalispel, the Coeur d'Alene, the Spokane, the Yakama, and I got the Nimipu already. All right, so we're covering news and events that are affecting you on a local, regional, and national level, and we're trying to fill that gap that mainstream media has left wide open for so long. Plains tribes forever got lots of media, Southwest tribes, Alaskan natives, they all got all sorts of media. Coastal's got stuff going on, and it's about darn time we got stuff going on over here. We've actually always had stuff going on over here. We just haven't had the media to cover it. So that's what we're trying to do here, and we're honored to have you.
And Jeff, I just get excited watching the intro. It's just a little sampling of some of the media and the work that you've done, that we've done. Everything from Yakama Nation Treaty Days Parade. You can see the royalty and the little kids. It was fun to do that a few years ago. Right on to the headdress we see from Standing Arrow Powwow, Elmo. Yeah. We were out at Elmo. Yeah. The interviews you've done with Shelley Boyd right there at Inchlim. I mean, just across the region. It's just so fun to see that. The Indian horse relay, that totally gets us excited. We were down at the championships in Walla Walla. Then, of course, artists like Tony Louie, Inchalim Days. So it's just really fun to see all those tribal communities when we open up our show. I get real excited.
Yeah, it is. It's a great day to be Indigenous. It's a great day to be from the Inland Northwest. We live in the most beautiful place in all the world. We have some amazing rivers. We have amazing people. We have amazing stories to tell from this area, and it just keeps going on and on. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing here. And yeah, it's really exciting. I'm happy to be a part of this, and hopefully we'll motivate some of the youth out there to pick up a camera, man. Send us some stories. I've been wanting to talk, and I'm probably going to push this a little bit more and a little bit more. A big part of doing this is to get youth involved. We need that voice out there as much as we can get. And coming from the youth, it's a whole nother perspective of how they see things, and that's really important as far as looking into the future. We have all sorts of different things that we can cover here, but one thing that we'd really like to hear from you guys, if you have not just story ideas, but we want to know too, do you like us to go a little bit more in depth on a few stories, or do you like to have a bunch of different stories? Because we kind of can go one way or the other. We can cover maybe 3 or 4 stories and go more in depth on them and have more discussion. And then we can also go and cover and hit like 15 stories every week or what have you, and kind of go that route. So your feedback, if you guys have any feedback and you want to post it, you can post it in the live chat. We monitor the live chat here as we're going along, and you can also post it in the comment section below. So if this is your first time here, thank you for joining us. Also, all the stories that we have, we will leave the links to them and where we found them in the comment section below. So that being said, we have already burned up about 6 minutes.
Well, the point is that we want to hear from you. when folks send us stories, we get them on the air, and we don't get a lot of feedback. But when we do get comments or suggestions, we try to implement them. So thanks for joining us, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah, all right. So with that said, we better keep moving. I think you have the very, very first story today.
So we have a murdered and missing Indigenous women notification. We want to pull up a picture of TYRA Sepulveda. She's missing from Missoula, Montana. Last made contact on the evening of April 3rd and last seen April 2nd. She is 16 years old, 5'7", dyed bright red hair, brown eyes. Last seen wearing ripped jeans, black and red t-shirt, white sneakers, and she may be carrying a dark blue backpack. Please call Missoula Police Department 406-552-6300 or inbox with the info. We're going to leave the link on that. It's just all of us keeping an eye out for these young gals that's going to help bring them home.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. Keep an eye out. If you see something, say something. In today's day and age, we can see all sorts of weird things at all sorts of different places. So we just have to be alert, keep an eye out. So we'll go into a little bit more the MMIW stuff here in a little bit. We have a few more stories to cover real quickly. First, Coeur d'Alene Tribe Department of Education. They have a summer youth. Coeur d'Alene Tribe Department of Education, National Resource Department, and the Voices to Hear program are pleased to announce that they are accepting applications for their summer internship advanced opportunities program. Collectively, these programs provide incoming 7th to 12th graders the opportunity to explore a variety of different careers and topics through hands-on, hybrid, or virtual experiences. Please review the program summary guide below. If your son or daughter is interested, click on the link below for the information and to download the official application. So, Coeur d'Alene Tribe's gearing up for the summer for their youth, so be sure to check that out. Moving right along.
And I just want to say thank you, shout out to Richard Rowland for sending us that story.
All right, Richard. Yeah.
We appreciate it. Again, we're trying to cover all the news and get to what's important.
Is that Priest Lake? Is it Priest Lake or Ponderay? I always forget.
Where he's at?
Yep.
He's in Idaho. So.
He's in Idaho. All right. So
our roving reporter.
All right. So we have a Smudge coming up. This is kind of a cool deal.
Yeah. So the Yellowhawk Tribal Health Center is having a community smudge Wednesday, April 7th, 3:30 to 5, cleansing the community to uplift mental health and wellness of Nihahui. There'll be a caravan through the tribal community. For more information, contact Shoshone Walker at 541-240-8436. And again, we'll leave the link for that.
All right. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like and appreciate when they invite the whole community to come out for things like that. And that's, is that Umatillas?
Yes.
Umatillas. All right. So we have another story here that's pretty interesting. This one is Captain StarEagle. Kind of cool. Meet Captain StarEagle. This one coming to us out of the military.com daily news. Meet Captain StarEagle. Space Force swears in first female Native American intel officer. U.S. Space Force Captain Haida StarEagle becomes emotional as her father, Chief Samuel Little Fox, shaman of the Manticock tribe and the 13 tribes of Long Island, pins on her new occupational badge during her induction to the United States Space Force at Joint Base Langley in Virginia, March 12, 2021. This photo is April 1st. Space Force just welcomed its first female Native American intelligence officer, Captain Haida StarEagle, a 17-year veteran of the Air Force, transferred into the fledgling service earlier this month, according to a news release. She hails from the 36th Intelligence Squadron at Joint Base Langley, Virginia, Virginia, where she served as a flight commander of training. She will remain with the 36th until her duty, title, and station are approved. The release states her commitment to her airmen is at a level I've never seen before. Master Sergeant Ryan Ritchie, the 36th Chief of Training, said in the release, "While we are losing an amazing captain, the Space Force is gaining one, and we're just so proud of her. At a level they have never seen before. That's pretty amazing because they get all sorts of people go through there, and that's really exciting. Congratulations. That's really exciting stuff. So anyhow, we better keep moving along. We have another story here, and this is our gal coming up.
Yeah, so by Native News online staff. This is a story. Secretary Deb Haaland launches a missing and murdered unit at the Interior Department. So in her third week on the job as head of the Department of Interior, Secretary Deb Haaland announced on Thursday the creation of a new unit to investigate and solve cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. The new unit, Missing and Murdered Unit, was created within the Bureau of Indian Affairs Office of Justice Services. The MMU will help put the full weight of the federal government into investigating these cases and marshal law enforcement resources across federal agencies and throughout Indian country. Violence against Indigenous peoples is a crisis that has been underfunded for decades. Far too often, murders and missing persons cases in Indian country go unsolved and unaddressed, leaving families and communities devastated. So that was a statement by Secretary Deb Haaland. The new MMU unit will provide the resources and leadership to prioritize these cases and coordinate resources to hold people accountable, keeping our community safe and providing closure for families. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really exciting news to be able to get that kind of support right out of the gates from Deb Haaland on a federal level. That's super, super exciting. I have to say, this begs to ask the question, what about Oliphant? How can we do something at this level and start funding something when we still have to battle things like that?
So Oliphant essentially divested tribal governments from criminal jurisdiction over non-Indians. Nevertheless, there's a lot of cases that happen off the reservation. They happen on and off the reservation. And one of the key problems is coordination. People are so confused by jurisdiction in Indian country and how to deal with tribal people off the reservation. And then there's some implicit bias and racism. So people don't look for natives when they go missing, or they assume that we're drug addicts and that we don't deserve to be looked for. We're prostitutes, or there's these this implicit bias against Native people. So all of these are issues that cause people, the law enforcement don't always go looking, but coordination and a directive from up above saying go look for these young people.
Yeah, and it's not just young people, and it's not just women. It's men, women, it's children, it's girls, boys, all ages, all over the country. Here in the Inland Northwest, it is a epidemic way beyond what we could imagine if you listen to the numbers. We were talking, I keep going, and we're going to have to get an update on that. But just within that first 6 months or so that Patty Ghosh was in office, she said there were 300 new cases in Washington State alone. 300 new cases in Washington alone. That's crazy. I just can't even imagine trying to take on that workload with one investigator, and now there's two in Washington, but at least we're going to have some help on a federal level. That really helps. So, what are your thoughts on that?
So often when you have people working together in a coordinated effort, you have success. It's people talking to people, knowing who's actually missing. So those folks that are working at Washington State Patrol, like Patty Ghosh and Down Pullen, and across the United States, we appreciate your efforts because they're narrowing down the folks that are actually missing. In some cases, the large numbers are runaways multiple times, and so we have staff that are working to narrow down the folks that are actually missing, so the investigators can focus on the cases that they need to focus on, where there's real suspect behavior. And again, it takes all of us across Indian country watching out and helping these task force.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. Deb Haaland has not been in her position for very long. This is a bold move. Hopefully she's going to get support from both sides of the aisle all the way through this thing so we can get a better grip on this, because this is just really out of control. Anyhow, moving right along, we have another story here that is not as positive as we like to highlight all the time, but we have to take the good with the bad, they say. So, we're going to go into this one. And if I can get it, here it is, right here. We're going to go with this one. Racist voter suppression efforts target the native vote, by Levi Rickert, April 4th. And this one's coming out of Native News Online. They do such an amazing job. Happy to share this one with you. Our Indigenous elders teach us the spring season is a time for new beginnings and renewal. After a long winter, spring brings forth Mother Earth's beautiful greenery. It is the season to plant vegetables and flower gardens. Unfortunately, this spring is not all blue sunny horizons and crocuses. Instead, the lingering ill effects of racism have continued into the season. 4 days before the beginning of spring, a sick and evil man killed 8 people at 3 Asian businesses, 6 of them Asian Americans. Last week, the trial of accused murderer and former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin brought back the horrendous visuals of life draining away from George Floyd and Chauvin's knee bared down on his neck. Spring also brought more racist attempts to suppress votes of people of color. Now, in Georgia, the state's governor signed into law legislation that suppresses the vote of people of color by making more stringent voter ID requirements and limits drop boxes. It even absurdly makes it illegal to give a drink to a person waiting in a long line to vote. Similar laws have been introduced in state legislatures across 43 states this year alone. 43 states. That's crazy. If you can imagine having these types of laws in all of our states, where it's I know it's at this point it's just a misdemeanor to give somebody a drink of water that's standing in line. I can't even imagine what kind of person does that. How do you not help somebody who's dehydrating? How do you not help somebody who's been standing in line sometimes for hours just to get out and vote, who may have journeyed all day long? Some people walk all the way across town. Some people, it shouldn't matter whether you walk, drive, ride a horse, however you get there, however long it takes you to get there, however weary you are. If you need help, they should be able to provide you that help so your voice can be heard. This is just absurd, and I can't believe that we're living in a day and age that this is happening. And to have 43 states following suit is really kind of disgusting.
Yeah, Jeff, that's one of our traditional teachings. From the time I was little and can remember anything, my great-grandmother Sadie Boyd told stories about bringing water and gifting people a cup of water. When you have nothing else, you can greet your guests or take care of your family, and particularly your tribal elders, with a cup of water. So I remember being at the Longhouse and asking the old yayas, just, hey, Tupia, you want some water? You want a cup of water or coffee? Or, it's one of our traditional teachings. And for that just shocks me, that it would be wrong to just give somebody water.
Yeah, I can't, it really begs to ask the question, where are we at in this day and age? How far have we come, really? If we look at the moral decay, if we look at all of the hatred, the racism, I'm just shocked that this continues to keep happening. First, in this country, we suffered racism as Indigenous people. And then slavery was introduced not only to African Americans, but also to, the Chinese that came, and then the Japanese that went into internment camps. And it's just over and over and over again. And it's like, when will it end? And it's like, I just can't believe that who thinks like this? What kind of people are these that have these types of values that know if someone wants to come out and vote and they don't bring their own water, if they don't bring enough food for as long as they have to stand in line or whatever, that we're gonna write you, we're gonna fine you. And hopefully it won't get to the point where they're imprisoning people. That's just gross. I can't imagine.
Well, when you go out to vote, you don't anticipate waiting in line 3 hours, 7 hours, and we've seen that in recent times.
And you know, one of the states that really had a hard time with this was South Dakota. Actually, both North and South Dakota, when they were limiting the addresses that they would accept. They wouldn't accept PO boxes. You had to have a physical address. And when you have these people that come from the reservation, when you have natives that come out to vote and can't be heard because they and then, you know, it's not just that, it's that, so you can't use the P.O. box, but the U.S. Postal Service won't deliver to your rural route, so you have to get a P.O. box. And if you have, you know, multiple families living on a single property, I guess you all share the same number or what have you. But, you know, some of these rules and regulations are so prohibitive. And, you know, to see this perpetuation of this systematic racism in our society in this day and age is really, you know, it's the 21st century. You know, this isn't, you know, I don't even know. I'm kind of speechless.
Even tribal ID, you know, we go above and beyond, and we can track people back 3, 4, 5, 6 generations. We know who these folks are, their identification. Our tribal ID is more legitimate than any state ID, and yet they question our tribal ID system because we know who our people are, and you know,
we got our bloodlines on the back. I mean, give me a break. Sometimes on the front. Holy cow!
And our enrollment officers are some tough cookies. They're some of the toughest chicks on the res. Shout out to Vicki Raymond, one of the only Indians I know that can do fractions. So, you know, our enrollment officers work hard, and for them to question our tribal ID and you know, our identification and tracking, it's frustrating, right?
Yeah. So anyhow, we'll have to keep an eye on this to see what's going on, because this is just, this is absurd. This is absurd. Anyhow, we have something that is a bit more lighthearted for you.
So native riders galore on the Rutherford Falls. This is with one of the largest native rider rooms on TV. A native cast with Michael Gray Eyes and Janet Shimding. The Office's Ed Helms. Rutherford Falls premieres in April.
So Rutherford Falls is a comedy exclusive on NBC streaming platform Peacock, and it'll premiere April 22nd, which is Earth Day. And it's Helm, known for his role as Andy on The Office, and Reagan Wells, who is played by Jana I hope I'm saying this right, Schmieding, Cheyenne River, Lakota. The friends, as the show's description describes them, find themselves at a crossroads, quite literally, when their sleepy town gets an unexpected wake-up call. And in the description, the full synopsis says, a small town in the northeast and the Native American reservation it borders are turned upside down when local legend and town namesake Nathan Rutherford, Ed Helms, fights the moving of a historical statue. So we have the trailer for this we want to play for you really quickly. So here, check this one out. Ooh, let's start it in the beginning. Hopefully it won't go back to an ad.
100 years ago, my patriarchal ancestor, Lawrence Rutherford, founded our town. Anyone see the resemblance?
I definitely see it. It's in the jaw, the shoulders, through the chest, and probably some other places.
Okay, thank you.
I am the steward of my family's legacy that will resonate throughout history.
And you have a museum.
You're gonna get yours too.
This is a ginormous casino. But nobody wants to help my cultural center.
The only native artifacts in here are those bags.
You seem smart. I'm guessing lots of college. Not Ivy League, but so close it drives you crazy.
Northwestern.
Nathan, I'm calling to request a response to Mayor Chisenhall's decision to move Big Larry.
I'm sorry, what? The problem is not Big Larry. It's the road.
This is the 5th time someone's crashed into that statue. It's a public safety issue.
It's history, Deirdre. You can't change history.
Unless you have a time machine.
And you don't, because if you did, you'd go back and tell yourself not to buy that blazer.
What?
I'm gonna get this town on my side.
Yes. And I'm gonna transform my cultural center.
This town has forgotten how to honor their ancestors.
Can we focus on the problems that are actually important?
Big Larry's important.
More important than the opioid crisis.
Apples and oranges, Carla.
There's something happening in that town. This is a story about stories.
Damn. The podcasting voice is very manipulative.
So much drama.
But let's leave them with
Okay,
more.
no, but I'm not done telling these people why they're wrong and stupid.
This is why it's not worth being friends with white people.
All right, that's coming on Peacock. I can't wait. I can't wait to see this. The story and the links are found on Indian Country Today. We'll also leave the link to the YouTube trailer so you can share it with your friends. The article goes on to state the show also stars Cree actor Michael Greyeyes. I know this much is true in Blood Quantum. As one of the tribal leaders of the fictional Minneshanka Nation, Jesse Lee Heathers, Dustin Mulligan, Schitt's Creek, and a multitude of native actors who play various Minneshanka Nation citizens. So this show is full of Native American actors and actresses and writers. They have a whole team of Native writers that help them with this script. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. This is pretty
and
exciting.
she's just trying to get her cultural center supported. She's like, yeah, you got a museum for the Siapis. What about my tribal museum?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were cracking up the whole time in that trailer. So we're excited.
Yeah.
That's coming soon.
NBC's Peacock, man. It's about time. You know, how long ago did Happy Days come out? Jeez.
You know, at the end there, the native guy's like, that's why I gave up having Siapi friends, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's just crazy. The whole
Yeah.
thing is funny.
Yeah. So anyhow, I think we're about out of time today. So we thank you once again for joining us. Again, we'd like to hear your comments and suggestions. Do we do more stories or do we do fewer stories and go more in depth? Do you want more commentary? Do you like the video stuff? What do you guys like? Would you like more interviews? You know, it's really, this is about you. We're just kind of winging it as far as the content goes, and we'd really like to have more input because, you know, this, like I said, it's about you. It's about sharing this stuff with the people out there, the natives throughout the inland Northwest. So,
And Jeff, I just have a couple shout outs as we wind up. Misty Tomio from the Colville Nation. Thanks, Misty. She's a healthcare worker here in Spokane, a nurse, and doing amazing things. She's a great mom, a great partner, and a shout out to Misty. The other birthday shout out I want to shout out is to Lavina Louie.
All right.
Lavina Louie does amazing work. Powwow Sweat. A lot of you probably know her video and work across the nation.
it's on YouTube.
Yeah, she's an inspirational speaker out there at the Coeur d'Alene Tribe of Indians. She's been really instrumental in bringing along our youth and our next generation. She works with Unity and does a lot of Native health and wellness speaking. So shout out to Lavina Louie. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lavina. All right. Thank you once again for joining us, and we'll be back on Wednesday from 8 to 8:30. Lem lemsh.
Lem lem. She uhoy.